to be doing something on their own. But just so many things happened on this entire trip where they made these friends for the very first time. We every day we do these fireside chats and go over, what did you like about today? And, inevitably there's tears that happen, but especially on the very last day of the trip, people know that the end is coming, the separation. And the bigger brother, Mundo, he got up and walked across the circle over to me, and he said, Jerry, our hearts were locked up for 12 years and now they're free. And it's like, oh my God. And it's just,
Oh,
tears are rolling and everything. And that's the impact, that we have on kids with this. And that happened within 5 days of just getting them out in nature and listening to them and engaging them, and showing them healthy risk taking. And it's just nature is a natural healing mechanism. And that program, it's called River Rampage. It's really showing them that, there is this life out there, and don't give up with whatever you're going through. You have this whole world ahead of you. So the floodgates open and they come back, and it's like we can't say, okay, thanks so much for going. Now you're on your own. We have this program where we keep them engaged and in contact. And these boys, they actually loved hiking. So actually, they just turned 21. I want to say 2 weeks ago or whatever, but they haven't hiked with us for maybe a year. But we were a part of their lives for several years after that trip of in one way or another through our different activities. So it's
that's,
connecting, it's connecting our communities. They seem very big, but yet they're very small. So we don't have, all the answers for everything, but what we're good at, I think all of us in the community that we serve, and Jeff can attest to this, is that we're really good at connecting to the people that do have, the support for whatever's needed for the people that we run up against.
does either organization have any type of like a mentor program for these people that after they're done with the particular adventure that maybe they can buddy up with them and continue to learn and grow?
So we started that with the River Rampage through the volunteers for those trips are called sidekicks, that they're the ones that have to be their mentor, with the teens. And the teens have to do 30 hours of community service somehow. So the sidekick assists them, whether it's picking them up and, doing these activities with them. But so they'll do that beforehand, but then during the trip. But then after the trip, the sidekicks all put together some type of an activity. So we have a year's worth of activities where we continue that mentorship. But I have to admit that it's just very difficult with technology today. As much as, we want to be there and be their mentor, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. Um, Bad habits, continue to take over. They get on their cell phones or iPads or, and it's not all of them by no means, but it's a very difficult, uh, thing to kind of keep going. But I think that's definitely one area that I think is really needed in society, is having really good mentors, throughout their uh, those are very impressionable years.
We don't have a mentor, but I agree with Jerry so much. I mean, I would not be where I'm at today, which, I mean, depending on how you measure life, wouldn't be very, not much status, but I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it weren't for my mentors. I mean, those individuals had such an impact on me. And so I completely agree with Jerry on how important mentors are. And if there's any way for an organization to facilitate that in a productive way, it should be done. It is difficult though. We have a program that it's small and we're slowly building it. And it's something that's I think it'll naturally grow on its own, where we do an ambassador program. So it gives us an opportunity for our riders not just to be served, but to serve. So they're not just the people we serve. You're here because you're in a wheelchair. Our volunteers are here because you're in a wheelchair. And it creates more of a community-based feeling. But the idea is that these ambassadors are the ones who basically talk others into trying out the program. So they're the ones who have been in the Austin and Zara are our primary ambassadors right now. And they're the ones who tell other wheelchair users, listen, we have this chair. I know it seems crazy, but you should try it. It's the most inclusive outdoor experience I've ever been part of. And you get to be in a community. It's not a service. Everyone's there hiking. And it's safe, and it's fun, and you'll never forget it. And it gives our population that we serve an opportunity to be leaders, not just be served, but an opportunity to serve themselves. And that's something that it's not quite a mentor program, but it can serve some of the benefits that a mentor, big brother type of a program can have. And so we're really proud of that, even though it is small, that we have individuals out there that want to be active and want to convince other people to do kind of the silly, crazy stuff that we're doing up in the mountains.
When you send those ambassadors out, do they talk about like the true craziness of climbing 14ers?
Well, I try to encourage them to talk about how safe we are and how fun it is. But yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the ambassador program is our storytellers. They're incredibly, I was going to say incredibly brave. And I have to elaborate on that. Could you imagine a bunch of crazy mountain people saying, get in this chair and follow us up a mountain for 3 days and just trust that you'll be okay. Even though you've never probably been on a trail or a mountain like this before, but we're going to go out backpacking and go up 3,000 feet of vertical. And we'll take care of you, even though you may only know a few of us. I mean, that takes an incredible amount of bravery. That being said, it's an opportunity for the people in the ambassador program to show others that it does take a lot of bravery, but you're also taken care of. And that's something, and obviously, like I said before, an opportunity for our participants to be leaders themselves. And that was the origin of that program, was it was my idea to create an opportunity for the people we serve to not just be served, but to serve others. And that's really important to me personally. God bless Make-A-Wish. They have an incredible program, but it is about a service towards an individual. And we're trying to build, and Jerry kind of elaborated on this in this returning service community involvement. We're trying to build almost a club-oriented group where we go hiking together and we make it inclusive. We're not here because we're here to serve XYZ people. We're here to hike because we love to hike, and we're willing to lend just a little bit of our strength around the board to make it inclusive and to make it available for everybody.
And it's interesting too. Well, real quick, it's interesting too with the volunteers. It's so frequent. This is more on the camping trips and I think the river trips that we do, that there will be at least one or two volunteers that will come up to me and we'll have this discussion that they feel really guilty, that they feel that they're getting more out of it than the participants are. So again, just going back to what Jeff said, this isn't just for the participants, it's for the whole group. The needs are there for everyone.
The inclusion is all the way around. We had a few nurses last year who had never been up a 14er. One of them had been up one 14er. The other had done nothing. Neither of them had any backpacking experience. They wanted to come and support us as medical staff and care over the trip. They didn't know how capable they were, and they didn't know how to get up a mountain. So I outfitted them through my guide company, obviously for free, and we all went up together. And it was, for everyone there, I don't think there were any exceptions to this other than maybe Anthony. No one had been on an expedition-style mountain adventure where there's 20, 25 people camping together around a fire on the side of a mountain that they planned to summit the next day at a base camp that they had to set up a day before to make it happen. I mean, for everyone in that group, minus maybe one person, including myself, none of us had ever been on an expedition-style trip. And that's exciting. I mean, that created an inclusion for 20 people at that adventure that realize, we're not just here to pull the chair up. We're here to get up the mountain together. And that was really cool to see. And the reflection of that from our volunteers after the event, it made my heart grow 3 sizes to say, I never would have done that if you hadn't offered the opportunity. I thought I was there, to help out, but I didn't know how I would get to the top. And your organization, the support of the community, not Jeff, but the community allowed me to do that.
Yeah, that's, you can get gratification a lot of ways, and there are different levels of gratification. But for me personally, knowing that I help somebody do something that they've always wanted to do and seeing them experience the joy that I get out of those types of activities, I'm the same way. I'd rather help somebody do something like that than do it myself.
I couldn't agree more. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that's why I got into the guide business initially. I had experiences in college where I kind of started doing this pseudo guiding. Okay, I wasn't being paid as a guide, but I would be not. I always have been a good test taker. So at university, I could spend most of my class periods looking up routes for my next adventure. And I had a good handful or two experiences where people would see me doing what I was doing, realized what I was doing, and said, "Hey, are you really going to go backpacking in the Appalachian Mountains? Are you really going to go out to the Rockies and do that? I would love to do something like that. Do you think you could take me? How would I get there?" And I started taking these folks out who had never been in the mountains, had barely done any hiking, and maybe camped, next to the Lake Michigan, right next to their car, along with, 100 other people camping. And so I was taking these folks out that had never experienced that. And I thought, hey, it'll be fun. It'll be better than, I didn't even have my dog at the time. So I thought it'd be fun to have somebody there. And if I could share the experience with them and teach them how to do this, then they're off on their own. You teach a man to fish, he can catch fish. And so I did that, and I realized there was this experience that I now have experienced with my clients and my guide company as well as the nonprofit, where people go up a mountain, they look at their feet, especially when they're exhausted. It's one step after the other. And when they finally reach the top and they realize they're not walking on incline, they tend to look up and they're exhausted, but they can finally breathe and they get to soak in the environment. And there's typically like a, "Oh my God, I can't believe where I'm at" type of response. And I realized, wow, how do I tap into that? Who can I offer that to outside of my college classrooms? And that's, one of the inspirations for starting my business and building this nonprofit with our community. And it's just that experience to give somebody the step through the doorway into a new adventure in life. I mean, that's, talk about filling your cup. I've never experienced anything like it. And the minute I got a taste of it in college and furthered that in guiding and now with the nonprofit, I realized I don't know what I'm going to do in career life, how I'm going to retire one day, but this is it. This is what I'm going to do. Absolutely, regardless of what else I do professionally. I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to share it with as many people as I can, because what I want out of life is to say, I created accessibility to you, whether you have some sort of disability or not.
Jenna, do you think there's any room in the technology sphere for maybe helping people experience just a little taste of some of these adventures?
Absolutely. There's actually room in almost every sphere for this, because everybody can lend something, right? Like whether it's financial help, whether it is, the human resource of just going out on the trail. And Jeff is really good about, for our hike, saying, look, if you guys want to be here and help get the Trailrider up the mountain, amazing. If you're just here for moral support, to hike with us, to take a photo and maybe share it so more people are exposed to what we're doing, that's great too. So there's that whole piece of it. But also in the tech industry, there is so much brain power, and a lot of the solutions for things just are born of people that are exposed to a problem and then can say, oh, wait, here's maybe a solution that we've used in this other facet that we could extrapolate to this. So, the Trailrider, I believe, was born from people with a bit of engineering understanding, or I'm sure mechanical understanding. And in the tech world as well, there's so many things going on where people are using aerospace and robotics to create new limbs for people and really helping them just like live new lives. So yeah, I absolutely think so. And I would really encourage anybody in the tech sphere to maybe come out to help out an adaptive organization and just see what the problems are, to even see if that maybe you have a solution that could be super easily implemented.
So let me just add to that really quick. You hit it head on, Jenna. So with this whole COVID thing, our whole world is socialization. So when you have social distancing, it doesn't mix very well with what we do.